crispy.
What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Figure Action. And today I bring to you it's when I was contacted, I was asked to create an apocalypse throne room. I guess it's probably the best way to go about it. But he did have a couple other things in mind. So he wanted kind of a second room, and so away we went. So anyway, as you know, as this works a lot of the times, somebody contacts me, they're interested in a diorama. I ask them what they have in mind, and they more or less give me an idea. I in turn create a proposal based on their budget, and then we go from there. So he contacted me and said, this is what I have in mind. So he wanted a throne, he wanted it to be for Apocalypse from the X-Men, and he wanted, again, like a kind of a secondary type of room. So I pitched the idea of doing kind of a throne room attached to kind of a breakout room that can pretty much be anything, really. You can put whatever you feel like putting. You can put a table there. You can make it into an executioner's type dungeon. You can do various things. So went ahead and created kind of a ceiling for it as well. And this is kind of open air. So measurements are 20 inches across, or 20 inches long. I believe it is 10 inches here, and it is 14 inches there. And I think it's the standard length for how deep it is. Yeah, about 11 inches deep. All right, so let's break this down real quick. So one of the things that I again, it's very important to me is to make sure that every time someone gets a dial from me, they maximize it in terms of either displaying or photography, especially photography, because once you display, you kind of put it into one, whatever that display is going to be. So like, let's say in this particular case, he wanted it to be displayed something like this with some other people, your other action figures and that, ever, he can do that. But for photography especially, I want to make it as versatile as possible. And so one of the things I told him is that the throne itself would be removable. So wanted to kind of just take a picture or start recording with Apocalypse there. It's funny because I was just telling my homeboy, my roommate, that I had created the throne to the specifications of Apocalypse, and then when I sat him down, because of the articulation and he can't sit down 100% flat, and because his arms are big, he was kind of floating, so I had to make him kind of a little cushion or whatever. So I just kind of, I don't know, in my mind it's kind of like this, I don't know, cement that was painted red to make it look like a cushion, or it can be an actual cushion. And the good thing about it though is that he can use it for Apocalypse, and I won't put it permanently, and he can take it off, and then he can make this more versatile and put other action figures in there, maybe some smaller bodies where it would kind of fit more if it didn't have this piece on. So this is just an additional piece. The throne itself, I made it so that you can put it in two positions. You can put it here, I guess, but it's kind of a low ceiling. So what I wanted it to do is have kind of that shot where you can kind of get it like this, where you get it through the archway there. You can get it straight from the back, or you can kind of put it like this, and you still get the two windows above it, and now you kind of get the look where somebody's walking, or that type of angle. So that kind of is again, just going towards that mentality of making it as versatile as possible to create as many shots as you can, was kind of the idea here. So besides the measurements, the throne itself is, it's the first time I actually measured the throne. I have no idea. It looks like it's about 8.5 inches tall, and it is about 7 inches long, and deep wise we're looking at about 4.5 inches deep. So that is the measurements of the throne itself, and it's basically just all insulation foam. I actually created this throne using all of it was done on the Proxxon, which is not something I've used as often because a lot of my pieces are so big they just fall off the Proxxon. Like, I can't really use this for certain pieces, but for stuff like this, it's perfect. I was just like able to knock this throne out in less than an hour, in terms of just cutting it, putting it together, gluing it, and painting it in that first initial black wash. And that only took literally like a little bit less than an hour, again, because of the props on the speed that you're able to kind of go with that. And what I wanted to do for that, you know, I looked up like Apocalypse Thrones, and there wasn't much. So I wanted to just kind of give it the feel of a pyramid, because Apocalypse is the oldest living mutant that goes back to Egyptian times. If you guys ever get a chance to read his origin story, it's pretty cool, actually. It's pretty cool. But he is the oldest living mutant from Egyptian time. So that's the throne. What I actually ended up adding last night actually was this little extra piece, partly because when I laid the ceiling on, the wall's only that long, so it doesn't come all the way. Because I just wanted to give him more, you know, more versatility, and I just didn't want to block it off. So what I noticed is that this leaned a little bit. And so what I said is, you know what? Let me create one of these little guys here, and then he'll be able to kind of put it wherever he wants to put it. You can put it back there. You can put it like right at the front of it. You can put it to the side. So you have the versatility of putting it pretty much anywhere you want to put it. And so I didn't put any like spikes like I usually do. So it's not in a set permanent place. So he has that opportunity to kind of put it wherever he wants to put it. So I just created that last night as an additional piece, and I think he'll appreciate it. It'll look good for pictures and so forth. The ceiling itself is not magnetized. Pretty much is that kind of that drop down ceiling that I've used before, and again it allows it to cover any cracks and imperfections in cutting of the board. So in this, you know, in this particular case, because it has that, it kind of falls right into here. So we have that, and then this arch piece here, again magnetized as well as most of the pieces are. A little bit of work on the ground in terms of some stains and some debris and so forth. So that's all set into place. Unfortunately, a dial like this, you can't get much color in because it's an indoor type of situation. I couldn't put a lot of greenery inside because greenery moss does not usually grow inside of a castle type of situation. But I was able to kind of put some of that mossy finish on the window, as I can see that developing on windows. Again, it's not a huge thing, but I think it kind of looks cool if he kind of takes a picture. I had posted a picture where I used like a yellow, I think the other side of this board is either red or yellow, so I kind of turned it around and used it so that you can kind of see that bright yellow coming in through the window. So you get 4 windows was part of it as well. This back piece is an entire back piece, so it's just, you know, magnetized here, and that whole piece back there is a back piece, and this is just a little bit of a side piece. Yeah, man, that's pretty much the breakdown here. Insulation foam board. This is the project foam board. Again, using that technique where if you see here kind of this little divot, and what it allows me to do is that when I place kind of this part here, it kind of falls right into place, and so that it gives it that cohesiveness or what have you. So I kind of did it going around the bottom borders there, but I didn't do it on the outside here. I sometimes do that. This extended a little bit too much. I didn't do it here, again, just because of the style of it. I just figured that it wasn't really necessary, especially because it's pretty much all just like these cinder block type deals. I did not use any type of like these floors and what have you. I just went off the head, man. I just did some designs and I thought they looked good, so I went with them. But there was no pattern that I followed or anything like that. I usually don't really look up patterns. I just kind of look up some reference pictures and just create off of that for the most part. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I will leave some pictures at the end. Any questions or comments, leave them below. And hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week and an awesome weekend. And I'm out. Peace.